Alright guys, so after watching a couple of tournaments, junior tournaments and some even professional tournaments, I find that the major problem that I face with sometimes is not finishing the point. What I mean by that is the person gets the point set up really well, hits a big ball to the backhand, moves the person side to side or whatnot, and then gets the short ball, comes into the net, boom, dumps it into the net. Or even worse, not taking advantage of that short ball. So today we're going to cover one of the most important things is finishing the point. So several players though I watched, they had a very good tendency. One of them had a really big forehand. He would move the opponent to the backhand side, break their backhand down. So hitting several shots of heavy spin, pushing their opponent back. Then their opponent would give a shorter ball, and instead of taking advantage, moving in and trying to hit an open court or pausing, seeing if the opponent will move to the open court and hit behind them, they would just keep hitting the same ball, staying at the baseline. So a lot of good movement side to side, not enough movement forward and taking that ball earlier. So you see, this creates a big issue. The point gets longer, the person wastes a lot of energy hitting the same kind of shots. Your opponent doesn't feel danger anymore. They feel like they can just get out of the point by hitting any kind of shot as far as they're staying in the point, and then you become predictable. So very important for you, if you're the player that controls the point with the forehand a lot, and you break somebody's backhands or forehands, taking advantage of the ball, moving inside of the court whenever you get a chance to finish the point off. Now when you get to the ball, be very careful not to dump it into the net. Make sure your feet are moving, you're turning sideways, you're in control of the point. Sometimes you don't have to hit harder. If your shot's already pretty heavy and fast, you can just redirect the ball with the same pace, because you're taking the ball earlier, so it means you're taking the time away from your opponent, and then closing into the net to finish the point off. Now, so there is another kind of players, let's say big servers, and they get a huge serve in, they get a short ball, and it's a rush, they run into the net and just try to smack it. They try to follow up with big serve and try to crush the second ball, and they just miss it into the net or in the backhand. Sometimes I find that they don't come into the net a lot. So they have a big serve, the ball comes up, and instead of just running into the net, they stay back. So that's where it takes only a few practices. Maybe have a practice match where you practice serve and volley. If you have a big serve, might as well. You get a big body serve or a big kick serve to the side and come into that. Just try to feel comfortable. I know some people, and especially nowadays, don't really come in. It's something that started disappearing from tennis. People don't use it enough and lose confidence in that strategy. But it only takes few practices, feeling the confidence in your volleys, and a lot of times you don't really have to volley in your feet. If you hit a really big one and the person has struggles with return, the ball is going to come higher and you can put those balls away. So just take a few moments, few practice. If you have a big serve, try to practice body serves, kick serve, flat serves, and come into the net just to feel comfortable with it. So far we talk about people that control the point with the forehand and the people that have a big serve. It could be you could have a big serve and the forehand. You could use both strategies. Now I find the people that have good hands, and move people a lot on the court. So they find a way to move people around with their backhand and the forehand. They have a good slice or whatnot. And I find that sometimes they toss their opponent off the court, they lose balance a little bit, so that person is not going to hit a good aggressive shot. That's where it's very important to come into net, because if you lose that opportunity to come into net, sometimes they recover for the following shot and they can move you after that. Especially if you're not the one that has big shots, to continue control the point, you rely more on the touch. They don't really take advantage, and all of a sudden your opponent takes advantage of the point, start moving you around. And another very important, the one that people miss a lot, they find they hit a good drop shot. Person has very good touch, hits a drop shot and stays back. Now your opponent runs and hits that a little bit of an angle shot and you lose a point. So I find that it's a lot easier to control the point after the drop shot, coming into the net and cutting that point off. So the only option your opponent will have is hit a very good lob. Otherwise you will cover both sides. So when you hit that drop shot, you see your opponent is a little bit late to get to it. Make sure you just go to the net, stay on the same side from the middle, on the same side of your opponent, and split step as they're hitting the ball. Watch their racket. If their racket opens up, you see it's going to be a lob. It will be almost no problem for you to just do a one crossover, get back and hit an overhead, or cutting those balls up, because if they have to hit down the line, they'll have to pop it up. It's very easy to put away, and if they try to go with an angle or just one diagonal step, and you can cut it off. So I think those tips can help you out to win more matches, but I find that's very important part of the game, where you can make a lot of points and be very consistent. If you can get at least 90% of those points, it might completely turn around your game. Thank you guys for watching today, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also, we'll have a good course for you pretty soon. It's free, so you just have to look under links below, and we'll give you some very important tips for your game.